In my opinion, Mother's Day is kind of a sham. It shouldn't be a day. It should be a whole week. You are raising humanity. You may very well have the next president in your house. Nobody knows. And so you should be celebrated for a whole week. And so as a gift from B Baby to you, we've decided that this week we're going to be hosting a webinar to help you create a survival guide for sleep as a mother. Talking about today is understanding sleep needs, right? So how much sleep do you need? How much sleep do your kids actually truly need? And knowing how to recognize sleep deprivation. When I'm talking about sleep deprivation, I'm not just talking about being fatigued or a little bit tired. I'm talking about this is physically dangerous. This is no longer good for you. And this could have, dire repercussions on your health or on your child's health. So sleep deprivation per se. And then we're going to talk about what you can do about it. So some secrets to sleep training / sleep education. There's a distinction, and that's important, that you can utilize to understand how to resolve the situation or to prevent it, which I highly encourage. And then finally, a self-care guide developed by yours truly. It is my very own toolbox that I use as a mother of 5 children that are 6 and under, as a mother who also runs a company from home and who hosts a webinar with 5 kids trolling in and out of her office because they've suddenly discovered how to use the printer. Let's talk about sleep deprivation and how much it actually affects you and how important it actually is and how much sleep you actually need. So we now know that you as a woman need 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep. Science shows that after just a few days of you sleeping less than 6.5 hours per day, you have entered a zone of sleep deprivation, which means you are now in a dangerous zone of lack of sleep, okay? Newborns need 16 to 18 hours of sleep per 24-hour period. That's a lot of sleep. That's a fair amount of sleep. And then infants needs 12 to 16 hours of sleep. That's still a lot of sleep, right? And when we say infants, we're talking babies, right? We're talking about babies all the way until like 18 months of age. And then when we're talking about toddlers, which is 18 months and above, they still need 11 to 14 hours of total sleep in a 24-hour period. Newborns and infants arguably need a whole lot more sleep than we do, right? They need more sleep. That is fair game. Everybody knows. But did you know that the type of sleep that they need is very, very different? You have different types of sleep, right? We sleep in cycles. So we go through different stages of light sleep, and then we go into deep sleep, and then we rotate back into light sleep. Now, this deep sleep per se that we're talking about here, that we're going to focus on, is where your brain is capable of building new neural networks when you learn something new. So they need more deep sleep than we do to build all those neural networks, okay? So not only do they need 16 to 18 hours of sleep as newborns and 12 to 16 as infants of sleep per 24-hour, but they need a substantial amount of that deep sleep because that is how that information is actually going to be stored. And there are other consequences beyond their learning. Your immune system, their immune system, does much of its big work to protect them from infections, viruses, bacteria, and also give them the capability of fighting those bacteria and viruses in deep sleep. Less deep sleep, less immunity, right? It will affect their development, it will affect their overall health, and it will even affect their gastrointestinal health. Hello, reflux. Hello, colics. Hello, constipation. Hello, diarrhea. All the fun stuff, because when you're sleep deprived, all you want more of is explosive diapers. But let's talk about you for a minute, because you're like, I am a gladiator, Sam. I am part of the 300s and I can be sleep deprived and I will sit in this rocking chair all night long holding my baby because I am a superstar. There are consequences for you for sleep deprivation. The first one I'm going to tell you is your brain is not functioning at optimal capacity, which means beyond the possibility of you losing your cell phone inside of the freezer, if you're working, you're probably not performing very well, which is not great for your career. Your ability to problem solve is greatly diminished. Your mood, probably not great, even if you think it is. It's probably not great. But let's talk about hormones for a minute. Weight gain, weight loss, the inability to have any control over your postpartum body if you are sleep deprived. You're not regain control over your body if you are sleep deprived. In fact, your risk of postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression skyrocket. And your ability to fight it, or to not fight it, but heal it, is inexistent. If you are sleep deprived, your body cannot operate at full capacity, and it feels like it's in survival mode. It feels like it's under attack. So it feeds into that anxiety. And yes, hormonally, you're affected. So your skin might be affected. You might have pop-ups of eczema. You may have acne. You can have all kinds of things as a result of not getting enough sleep. You can have a lot of gastrointestinal issues. Now, everybody's heard about sleep training. Everybody's heard about Cry It Out. And either you've given it a try because you were so sleep deprived you didn't know what else to do, or you never gave it a try because it never appealed to you. It was just not something you wanted to do. And you're stuck feeling like there's literally no other solutions. Well, the good news is there are other solutions, okay? We're going to talk about two distinct things today. We're going to talk about the concept of sleep education, which is what we use at B-Baby, and we're actually going to break it down. And we're also going to talk about some very common and relatively easy to apply gentle sleep training methods, and when to use them, when not to use them, and how you can decide if you can go down this route or if sleep education is required. So I'm going to talk about three very Googleable sleep training methods that are very gentle that you can look up. And then I'm going to introduce you to sleep education, which is our own personal B-Baby sleep consultant style. And we have a 100% success rate. So, I mean, our style's pretty good. Not our clothes, the sleep education. Okay. So the first one you may have heard about, and it's called pick up, put down. And it is quite literally what I just said. It is pick up and put down, which means with a very young baby. Okay, we're talking under 6 months. And I would even argue under 5 months, this can sometimes work, okay? And this is a super duper gentle approach that involves basically no crying. Because what you do is every single time you put your baby down to sleep, right? And he starts fussing or crying and he's upset, you take him back up, you put him in your arms this way, head is here, butt is here, okay? Not this way, this way. And you bounce a little bit and you shush them until they're quiet, not until they're asleep, just until they're quiet. And then you gently put them back in their bassinet. And then, yes, they start screaming again and you pick them back up and you do the same thing, okay? Sounds exhausting. It is exhausting. But if you're trying to do it on your own and you want a gentle method, This is actually a very, very gentle method that literally involves no crying because you're intervening at every crying stage, right? Shush pat is a little bit different because this time you can start using it on babies that are a little bit older, okay? So you can use it on young babies, but you can also expand beyond that 6-month age. You can like cover most infant ages at this point. And this version of sleep education involves, or sleep training involves, leaving your baby in the crib or in the bed, but remaining beside them and shushing them and patting them and relaxing them until they fall asleep. And then very slowly removing your hand and your physical presence once they are asleep. The final method I'm going to give you is called gradual withdrawal, and it is literally what I'm saying. You can start sitting on the bed of your child on day 1, and you stay there until you ninja sneak out of the room. But then on day 2, you're at the foot of the bed, and then you wait until they're asleep, and then you ninja out of the room. And the next day, you're 2 or 3 feet from the bed, so you can't touch them anymore, but they can still see you. And you do this progressively until you can remove yourself. So we are going to go back and we are going to study the whole timeline. We're going to look at nutrition. We're going to look at health. We're going to look at development. We're going to look at sleep environment, personality type, the things you've done and you've tried, the things that you've noticed, right? What seems to work for your baby? What seems to not work for your baby? Our job is to break it down and to find your child's unique sleep disruptors. Why the hell your child refuses to sleep at all costs. And then what we do is we take the specific sleep disruptors of your child with the specific criterion that are very important, like you've been co-sleeping, you want to continue room sharing, you're breastfeeding, all the things that we know, and we mold them together, and then we grab, okay, we're going to take that intervention from that method, and then we're going to take this intervention with that method, and we're going to take that, but we're going to modify it to fit with this baby's, personality type. And then we look at it as a team and we're like, okay, if we do this, it's going to teach the baby this, and then it's going to teach the baby this, and then it's going to teach the baby this. And we address everything in those sleep plans. We address nighttime, we address nap times, we address nutrition, health, anything that can or should be involved, like treating eczema, will be inside of that plan. And this is first and foremost, the power nap. Yes, easier said than done, okay? But when you are dealing with sleep deprivation, when you feel like you are too tired to function, if you have the opportunity to catch a 15 to 30-minute snooze, please do it. Do not feel guilty. Do not feel like you should be doing XYZ instead. Here's the thing, 30 minutes of sleep is not a whole lot of sleep. But when you are awake every hour of every day, you accumulate something called adenosine floating in your blood. Adenosine is a byproduct of basically being alive and awake. And as it accumulates into your bloodstream, it makes you feel like crap. It makes you feel tired. And when you take a 15, 30-minute nap, your body is able to clear out a fair amount of that adenosine and can give you some mind clarity to be able to do that big task on your to-do list today, or to allow you to just get through the day with a little bit more ease, okay? It's not going to fix your sleep problems. It is not a long-term solution. But if you need to have your wits about you, for whatever reason, a power nap can actually do that for you by clearing out a dose of adenosine, okay? Number 2, delegate tasks. Your husband may have a completely useless pair of nipples, but I'm assuming the vast majority of your husbands have 2 hands and 2 feet, which mean they are perfectly capable of scrubbing dishes, of putting together a meal, of putting laundry in the washing machine, and so on, so forth, okay? Prioritize sleep. That means, yes, make it a religion. Have a bedtime. As insanely beautiful as the bedtime routine you have created for your child is, I want you to have an even more insanely beautiful bedtime routine for yourself. Yes, rub that hydration cream on yourself, put on those soft pajamas, take that bubble bath, read that book, do whatever it is that you got to do to create a beautiful bedtime routine for yourself. Why? Because self-care, yes, but also remember we talked about deep sleep. If you create a routine after about 7 days of having a consistent routine, your brain will associate that series of actions in that order to sleep, which will allow you to dive into deep sleep faster and ultimately allow you to get more deep sleep throughout the entire night, even if it is interrupted. So again, we're hoping you're going to find a solution. Either you're going to do one of the methods we've given you on your own, or you're going to contact us to work with a sleep consultant. But while you do that, to optimize the amount of restorative sleep you get, having a bedtime routine, as simple as it is, will actually increase the amount of deep sleep you are getting and allow you to feel more refreshed. Activity. Yes, physical activity does help with getting better sleep quality, and it releases dopamine into your brain, which is a happy hormone. Here's the thing. Your brain is engineered for growth and for gratification of completed tasks. It doesn't need to be complicated. Okay. It can be, like Jill said, a little bit of yoga. It can be taking a walk outside. It can be, doing Pilates. Only needs to be 15 to 20 minutes a day, a little bit of moving your body, but you write it down. You say, this is a commitment to myself. I'm going to walk for 15 minutes. I'm going to do something for 15 minutes. And every single time you do it during the activity, your brain will release some dopamine, which will make you feel happier. It will actively fight postpartum anxiety and depression. But as you complete it, your brain is even going to rush a higher dose of dopamine because it's going to say, hey, I did what I said I was going to do. Nutrition. You need to eat real meals with vegetables and fruits and a source of protein and a source of carbs. You need to drink water. And I know it's a broken record. Everybody's told you, but I swear, I promise, as a mother of 5 who has experienced this before, it will give you more energy, and it will also fight the risk of PPA, PPD when you are sleep deprived, okay? It is incredibly important. And the last one, and certainly not the least, is me time. Stop the guilt of the me time. You need the me time. You need the bubble bath. You need to read the book. You need to go take the walk. You need a hobby. You need to do something every single day that floods you with dopamine, releases some stress and anxiety, and takes your mind off of all the things that are occupying it at the moment. Why do you think hobby? Okay. So those are my self-care tips that I really highly recommend, okay? If you take away one thing from this webinar, I hope that it is that motherhood does not equal sleep deprivation. It doesn't have to be that way. If you have a sleep problem, seek a solution. Implement a sleep plan. It doesn't work, call us. If you're looking at this and you're like, a sleep plan isn't going to work for me, I need a sleep consultant right away, take the link, book a call, speak to a sleep consultant. Please remember that we hold a webinar every single Thursday at 12 Eastern, and we are always there to help. So just reach out to bbabyusa.com or bbaby.ca, and we will be happy to speak with you. You can also text or WhatsApp us at 561-814-3340. Have a great day.